What up, ladies and gentlemen, Chen here, bringing you guys another video. Today we are going to do a very in-depth auction itemization, so you guys have no questions about how to build auction and all the possible ways of building him. Now keep in mind, I did make a video last season on auction guide in terms of itemization, but I feel as if that is currently outdated. There are a lot of different iterations and just some things to keep in mind. So this video, I just want to do a much better job at explaining all the potential choices. And now keep in mind, truly itemization is going to depend on what you like and what you feel fits into auction's identity. I can kind of go over the core identity of auction or how I perceive auction, and that might be different from how you see auction, right? So a lot of high elo auction mains, they will vary in terms of itemization, because it really is about playstyle. So I'm going to show you guys the potential items you go, but at the end of the day, it's going to be up to you to decide what feels best in your games, etc. So as you can see, we are in the wiki. I'm just going to do it freestyle. Starting off with starting items, I believe there are only two options. There is no in between. It's going to be Dorn's Blade. We'll draw lines under itemization. So it'll be Dorn's Blade start with obviously, one pot, or alternatively you can go with longsword refill or longsword 3 pot. I don't know why this is so thick. There we go. So once again, starting item is going to be Dorn's Blade 1 pot or longsword 3 pot / refill. Now when you want to go longsword refill is going to be into matchups that you don't plan on being aggressive. However, if matchups you plan on trading, longsword 3 pot is going to be much better. In matchups where you think you'll need the HP, you can go Dorn's Blade, for example, into like maybe assassin matchups. That extra 80 HP is going to actually matter quite a bit. But for the most part, I've been experimenting with this, and in my opinion, I think longsword is definitely going to be a better starting item, just because it curves into your itemization really nicely. All the items for auction will be building around longsword. Next up, we'll talk about boots. We're just gonna kind of go in order. I personally think the best boot will be Berserkers. This is my opinion. Last auction itemization guide, I had a different belief in this, and I truly have changed. Berserkers, although auction doesn't utilize attack speed as well as other champions, it actually helps him in terms of wave clear. It helps him in terms of just feeling much more smooth as a champion. So personally, I do really like Berserkers. I run this probably 90% of the game. Now, of course, if they have something like maybe 4 AP, 3 AP, Merc Treads is going to be very nice, and then same thing for AD threats, right? Ninja Tabbies is going to be very nice. Now keep in mind, also, defensive boots are going to depend on your build. If you're going for more lethality build / survival builds, I think defensive boots are going to be better, but a good rule of thumb, you can probably just go Berserkers and you will do plenty fine. Moving on, basic items, I don't think anything matters here. Epic items, nothing matters here. Let's go on to legendary and mythics. We'll start with mythics first, because that's obviously going to be your first itemization. So first and foremost, I'm gonna highlight all the viable options, and then I'm gonna talk about it. So mythic options, you can go Duskblade, you can go Eclipse, you can go Gale Force, you can go Shieldbow, you can go Kraken. Never went this, never seen it, but I assume this would work as well. Prowlers wouldn't be too bad, and yeah, so those are all the viable options. Now let me talk about it. These three right here fall into assassin auction, which I know a very high elo auction main in Korea loves to go some sort of burst auction playstyle. That's personally not my style, but once again, if it fits you, you can definitely go for it. I think majority of the games he'd probably go Eclipse, and then some games he goes Duskblade. Now for when you go which, I can't tell you. I don't know inside his brain. Obviously he's Korean, I don't speak Korean, so I don't communicate with him through that, but just from his op.gg daily checking, Eclipse is definitely very good. My opinion of this, and I have tried it a couple times, is it gives you lifesteal, which is a very, very good stat that Auction does love. And it gives you the 3 shield, right? Which also plays off of your passive. So you're pretty much just amplifying your shield by 2 times to 3 times. Obviously, I don't know the numbers exactly, but it's just an amplification of shield. So this is very strong for trading patterns, also for early damage, because of Serrated Dirt. This item is the most broken standalone item in the game, and obviously these 3 items build into Eclipse. So keep that in mind. All of these are pretty viable. Prowler's Claw is probably the least viable. I don't see anyone going it, but for Assassin Auction purposes, I think it could still be ran. Moving on, Dustblade is probably just for more damage. I'm not too familiar with item statistics in terms of like these 2 items, the differentials, but I assume you go Dustblade into a bunch of squishies where maybe you don't need the lifesteal or shield, or maybe it's for the armor pen, I do not know. I'm not sure, but either way, test around. Dustblade passive is also pretty neat. I can imagine, you know, you EN, you get invis, and then you just continue Eing in, and you're just causing a ton of chaos. So these 2 are probably definitely going to be your most viable options for that sort of assassin playstyle. Moving on, you have, where is it? Shieldbow, Kraken, and Gale Force. Where is Gale Force? All of these are viable. Now keep in mind, as the time I am recording this, Shieldbow is set to get some changes. Now we are unsure of what the changes are, but I believe they're lowering the lifesteal, increasing some sort of damage. Personally, I do not like Shieldbow. That is, once again, coming to preference. I personally don't think it synergizes well with his kit. He is trying to go in very deep, and the survivability is pretty nice, but in general, I think you going deep and killing someone with potential Gale Force or Kraken is just so much more reliable, so much more effective. And how you want to think about Auction, at least for my playstyle of the champion, my champion identity, is he kind of likes to clean up. He's like a janitor, right? You're in invis, teams fight, there's a team fight, and then you go in, you collect the kills, you continue resetting, and these 2 fit into his identity significantly more as opposed to Shieldbow. Once again, it is preference. If you prefer Shieldbow, there is a specific Shieldbow build that I'll talk over once we move into legendary items. That is fairly viable. I have ran it a couple times. It's pretty good into a lot of AP threats, but for the most part, I'm of the opinion that Kraken / Gale Force is better. Now, a lot of people don't like going Gale Force. That is fine. Kraken, in my opinion, is probably the most go-to mythic item, and universally probably the best mythic item for Auction. This is because it synergizes so well with his E, and just in general, it's just such a good item for him. And yeah, so most of the time, as you can see, by how I'm talking, Kraken is my go-to mythic item of choice. Now let's talk about components. I'm going to highlight all the potential components you could go, and then I'll highlight specific build combinations, and that'll wrap up the video. Hopefully you guys are learning something. So, potential build items. I'm going to once again just highlight all the viable options. BT, Bork, Death's Dance, just because this item is so overtuned. I don't see anyone going Essence. I probably wouldn't recommend it. GA, Gwynsu's, Holebreaker, IE, LDR, Maul. I don't see anyone going this item. One reminder, PD, RFC. I can see some wonky builds with Ravenous, but probably don't try that. Definitely don't go Runeans. That is anti-synergy with his kit. And then Serpent's Fang, Sorrel does, Stormrazor, Collector, and Wit's End, and Emus. Those are all the viable options. So there are probably like 10 to 15, just estimating here, in terms of viable options. Now let's talk about them individually, and then let's talk about combo pieces. So Bork is obviously really nice for the on-hit build. I think when Auction first released, there was a build where you went Kraken, Bork, Wit's End. that is still the build to this day. It feels extremely strong. It is a extremely strong one item power spike. Just finishing Bork gives you that insane burst with its passive, which slows, which is the same reason why people go Stormrazor, and also it gives you every stat that you need, right? It gives you lifesteal, attack speed, attack damage. That is literally every stat that Akshan needs, and it gives a moderate amount of each. Bloodthirster is more of a finisher item. This is like a 5th or 6th item into poke matchups or poke compositions. Bloodthirster is really, really fucking good. It's for the shield, and it's for just being able to survive poke. So into Corki, into Jinx, into, I don't know, like Jace, poke champions, Bloodthirster is going to be your best friend. Definitely get it as a 4th, 5th, or 6th item. Death's Dance, as I said earlier, only reason why you would build this item is because it's insanely overtuned right now. Every bruiser goes it because it's just so broken, and Akshan could honestly build it and not lose too much. It gives you AD, and then it gives you a ton of defensive capabilities. So I would say this is more of a finish item. Don't go it like 2nd or 3rd, maybe like 4th, 5th, or 6th. It is fairly viable. Same concept with GA, 4th, 5th, or 6th. This is a survival item. You tend to go GA when you're snowballing, so don't go it when you're behind because that's pointless. Guinsoo's, this is a very core combo piece. Not much to say about it. It synergizes pretty well with the on-hit build. You're just trying to attack as many times as possible, and it amplifies a bunch of item synergy points that we'll go over later. Hullbreaker, they did nerf this, but it's still a super broken item. If you're playing top lane Akshan and you're trying to dominate that 1v1, definitely a very, very good item. It'll allow you to dominate the 1v1. It'll also allow you to split push, which is really, really nice. IE is going to be another combo point for the crit build. It's a pretty good finisher. You tend to build it 3rd or 4th, and it'll give you a nice power spike. Lord Dominic's Remark is going to be a very nice standalone item whenever the enemy has a ton of armor. Maul is really good into a ton of AP threats, and you want that lifesteal. So let's say you're going Kraken Maul, that's going to be much better than potentially Kraken Wits in specific circumstances. It depends on the AP. If it's an assassin, Maul is probably going to outvalue Wits End, but it's pretty close. Motor Reminder, pretty obvious. If they have a lot of lifesteal champions, this will help a lot. You want to build this towards the end. Phantom Dancer, a lot of people have experimented with this. It's not the greatest item for the champ, but it's still viable. If you want to be a kite machine, Phantom Dancer is good. Before the Akshan nerfs where they touched his movement speed for the 1 auto hit, Phantom Dancer was a lot better than before, but now it's just whatever. RFC is for the same reason as like something like Bork or Guinsoo's. It's for that combo point. A lot of these items synergize very well with his kit and synergize very well together. So we'll talk about that when we're talking about specific builds. Serpent's Fang, if they have a lot of shields, you can go this. Also, if you're going sort of the crit, or not crit, lethality build, this synergizes pretty well. Jarell does, same reason. It's kind of like a finisher item that you will tend to build with the lethality items. Stormrazor, same reason. It's for combo point. You'll tend to see Stormrazor, RFC, Guinsoo in some similar builds. Talk about that later. Collectors for the lethality build. Wits End is for a ton of AP threats / on-hit build. Yumu's is for, once again, the lethality builds. So let's talk about specific builds that you can go, right? First and foremost, we'll just kind of like highlight it. You can go Collector, Bork, Wits End. I spoke about this earlier. This is going to be your best on-hit build. You wrap up this build with things like LDR and then Bloodthirster GA. That'll be your 6 items. Is that 6? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Actually, that's 5, and then boots. So this is a very strong build. Or instead of Bloodthirster, you get GA, and that's fine. That'll be your 6 build. So that's very viable. Next option is Kraken. Where is it? Kraken Collector IE / Kraken Lord Dominic Remarks IE. So both of these, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. It activates IE at the 3rd power spike, and it also activates just a ton of standalone damage. Collector and LDR are very strong one-item power spikes, and they synergize very well with Kraken. So if they have a lot of tanks, go this. If they're squishy, go this, and then into IE, if that is your playstyle, if you want to go crit. Same applies with Gale Force, and same applies with Shieldbow, right? You go same combo pieces. It doesn't really matter what order. I'm just telling you that Kraken is viable. Next up is the on-hit build. Kind of goes something like this. Once again, I told you these synergy points. You can kind of throw in whatever and it'll work. Kraken doesn't work as well with these specific items, so just keep that in mind. A very typical build will probably look something like this, into this, into this, into this, and then Stormrazor is an alternative to Wit's End, and you kind of build it whenever. And the last sort of build you can probably go will be the assassination build, right? Once again, any of these items work. Into Collector, into Serpents, into Sereldas, whatever itemization you want to go, it really doesn't matter. And then you can also throw an LDR, just because once again it's a really good standalone item, synergizes really well with the champion, but that's kind of how you want to build Assassin Akshan. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, I think I've covered every single point of itemization for this champion. I don't think this video will be outdated anytime soon unless there is a massive overhaul to the itemization, so you guys can definitely go back to this video and understand. Now, if there's some crazy changes with itemization or auction kit in general, I'll probably make a redo of the video and continue updating it as we go. But for the most part, that is it for this video. Hopefully you guys found it useful. If you did, make sure to smash the like button. Join the Crimson Pack by subscribing to the YouTube channel. Thank you all so much for watching. Hope you all have a great day. Chen out.